All right, welcome to this explainer. Listen, if you are a focused learner trying to crack the code on how wealth actually works, you're in the exact right place today. We're digging into some seriously eye-opening source material that completely dismantles a myth we've basically all been fed since childhood. You know the one, the illusion that hard work and hard work alone creates wealth. Today, we're going to break down what actually works using a really clear set of rules.
Okay, let's dive right in with this massive, totally contrarian hook. Hard work is not the key to success, it's the key to exhaustion. Just pause and think about that for a second. Now, does working hard make you a better person? Absolutely. But working hard just for the sake of the grind, that's not going to make you wealthy. The source material we're looking at makes a brilliant point. Building wealth isn't just about raw effort. It is entirely about doing the right things in the exact right order. So, to fix our financial order of operations, we're going to follow a very specific roadmap today. We'll be covering 1. The wealth illusion. 2. The financial house. 3. Postpone the performance. 4. Pause before you purchase. 5. Produce before you play. And finally, 6. 3 questions to wealth. Section 1. The wealth illusion. Why hard work isn't enough. We live in an era where technology is moving at just breakneck speed, which means clinging to old ways of earning a living is actually really dangerous. Look at the past. The abundance of wealth used to belong to the specialist, the person who knew the absolute most about one very specific thing. But today, wealth belongs to the generalist who learns new things the fastest. The source illustrates this perfectly. If you're relying on an education built for a world that literally doesn't exist anymore, it's like being stuck in a beat-up pickup truck while the modern economy just zooms right past you. You've got to train your brain to learn fast and act even faster.
Section 2, the financial house, perception versus reality.
Now, what's really interesting here is how our source uses this awesome visual metaphor, the financial house. Picture a house with different windows for income, outgo, assets, and liabilities. The big takeaway is that wealth isn't just dollars in a bank account. It's a completely different psychological approach across classes. The poor see money strictly as a tool just to pay the bills. The middle class, they use money to establish credit, basically borrowing to buy things they can't actually afford. But look at the rich. For them, the absolute primary purpose of money is to build income-producing assets. That shift in perception changes the whole game. To really land the impact of focusing on that asset window, check out this number, $261,000. According to the source, that is the amount generated in a single year from just 2 books written 5 and 20 years ago. And get this, with zero ad spend, none. That is work done once that keeps paying out for decades. That's the literal definition of what an asset does when you prioritize it.
Section 3, postpone the performance. Look rich versus be rich. This is all about killing that deeply ingrained urge we all have to look rich before we actually are. Poverty is a psychology before it's a situation. Our source really hammers home that trying to impress people with luxury items like, designer shoes or a fancy car when you're making a totally average income is just, well, they call it money stupid. You're essentially playing a character that your bank account hasn't funded yet.
So the crucial point boils down to this. Broke people buy things to feel rich, but rich people buy things to get rich. Performing to look wealthy permanently delays your actual prosperity. There's this incredible anecdote in the source material about Sam Walton, who was once the richest man in the world, and he famously drove an old, beat-up pickup truck. He literally could not have cared less about looking rich. His only focus was on being rich.
Section 4. Pause before you purchase. Avoid the premature traps.
We've got to actively avoid falling into these culturally celebrated traps. A dream house, a dream car, a college diploma, a dream wedding. The source doesn't pull any punches on this stuff. Buying a dream car when you're broke, that can instantly become a massive cash flow nightmare. A college diploma, unless you're in a super specialized field like medicine or law, can quickly become an obsolete debt trap that forces you into a job you hate for 2 decades. Even a dream wedding can totally cripple your finances before the marriage even gets off the ground.
Let this powerful quote really sink in. Every major purchase you make before you're rich is a wall between you and the wealth that you are seeking. These premature purchases literally burn the exact capital you desperately need to be building those cash-flowing assets. Section 5, produce before you play. Stop rewarding boredom. And this brilliantly illustrates why we have to stop rewarding ourselves for the basic struggle of life
with debt-fueled escapism. Poverty's playground is swiping a credit card for a vacation you can't pay off at the end of the month. You are literally borrowing from a future you're never going to have just because you feel a bit burned out. Wealth's reward, on the other hand, is letting your asset windows generate the actual cash to pay for, say, a month-long trip to Hawaii. The idea is to hold on to your money long enough for it to generate baby money, and then you only spend the baby money. You always protect the principal.
This whole concept builds up to this central defining thesis. The order of operations isn't some complex math equation. It's a strict wealth rulebook. It dictates that you absolutely must do the right things first, which is building your assets, before doing the last things, which are buying liabilities and luxuries. If you try to skip steps and do things out of sequence, you're not going to get wealthy. You're just going to get incredibly tired. Section 6. 3 questions to wealth. The interrogation. Consider this the interrogation phase of the explainer. I'm going to ask you 3 really hard-hitting questions pulled straight from our source to force some immediate reflection. Question 1 is the priority question. What did you buy in the last 2 years before you had an asset paying for it? Seriously, look at your life right now. Pinpoint those recent financial missteps. And listen, don't do this to shame yourself. Do it with the absolute intent to stop the bleeding today. Let's move to the second one, the performance question. What percentage of your spending actually goes to building assets versus buying wealth-reducing liabilities? This forces a brutally honest audit of the cash flowing through your own financial house. Are you actively feeding that asset window, or are you just shoveling cash out the outgo window to impress people you don't even know? And finally, we hit the production question. What is the one thing you will do this week to actually generate $1? And hey, if you've already generated $1, how are you going to generate 10? You have to stop getting ready to get ready. Stop endlessly preparing to build a brand or perfect a logo and just go make a sale. Produce real, tangible value in the marketplace. So, before you buy the new wardrobe or lease the dream car or book that luxury vacation, just get rich first. Take a really hard look at your own order of operations right now. Are you prioritizing the performance of wealth, or are you ready to finally prioritize the production of it? Focus entirely on filling that income-producing asset window today. Because I'll leave you with this. What is the very first liability you are going to cut so you can start building your actual wealth?